All right, guys, back to the wood chopping and axes. I realized I've never given a little tutorial on axes. This was motivated from a good friend of mine, my trapping mentor, where I thought I knew everything about chopping and axes and everything, and he taught me something I never really knew on how axes like this could be just as good as axes like this, a sledge versus, I don't know, your traditional axe. You know, Jason Friday the 13th axe, something like that, right? This has always been my axe. That's all I've ever used for chopping wood. Probably you see this axe more often. Chopping down trees. Yes, this is kind of an axe you use for chopping down trees more. Lighter, easier to do many repetitions with. So that is your advantage. But I do most of my axes with my axe work with chopping wood, and that's why I prefer this one. Heavier, still young and strong. It's worth it to use the weight and the width of it to split apart the wood. However, this is the one thing my friend told me about chopping wood with your more traditional axe. These can be just as good if you know how to make contact with the wood. You know, with this wood, I've always kind of thought, okay, just throw the axe down and it's going to split. But he gave me a tip and said, once you learn how to make contact and make a little twist right at contact, it splits apart the wood. Because this is what I never liked about these axes when you chop wood. It's thin, it gets stuck in the wood. It doesn't really give that pop when you split the wood apart. And it doesn't really pop, especially in the winter when the wood is nice and frozen. You get enough separation quickly, just pops right apart. So that was very interesting. Something I'm going to try a little bit more. As I get older, you know, it's easier on the back, it's lighter. You might take you a little longer, more repetitions, but it's a little bit less impact on the body to use axes like this. I have 4 of my axes. These are all my axes. This is one we found. Like, I never use these axes, so that's why I've never really got a good one. Axe we found. I have it. This is our kind of kindling axe for my wife or us chopping kindling. We bring it camping to the campfire. It's always good to have in your car an axe this size, something you can carry, something you always have. It's an axe this big is always good to have. And this is an axe that serves real no purpose except for when I'm doing some fleshing of my animals after I trap, but this is my son's axe. He's 8 years old and he's learning how to kind of chop kindling, learning how to protect himself, learning how to hold the axe properly, stand properly, and position himself. So that's a little lesson on axes. You never really need to keep, for wood chopping, especially splitting, you don't want to keep them sharp. You don't want to keep them very sharp, but it's good to go over them with a file. For chopping trees down, you'd want them a little sharper, I think. I can't be sure, but it's better to have them a little sharper when you're chopping trees down. So that's all for today. Take care.